Hey everybody, this is Joe Perello with Lakes Area Realty and www.eaganagent.com. And today we are talking about the Eagan, Minnesota monthly market report, which is a new series that I am just kicking off this month. And it will discuss all of the going-ons in the Eagan, Minnesota area. How are the home sales going? What's the average price per square foot? All that information that you may be curious about. Seeing as how the number one question I get asked is, how's the market? One quick thing to note, as far as these statistics go, they're published by Northstar MLS, the local realtor association in the Twin Cities suburbs, from a part of their website called InfoSparks. These statistics generally run about a month behind, so we're in September, just finishing up September, so these will be the statistics from August. And then I would expect the October or the September statistics, which would come out in October, to be out about a week into October. So, like I said, the biggest question I get is, how is the market? And seeing as how I am now an Eagan resident, having moved from Bloomington, just right across the river there, I thought it would be only fitting that we focus on Eagan, Minnesota. So every month I am consistently impressed by just how well the Minnesota housing market has done all around. There really isn't a market currently that's lagging by any means. And these statistics surely are very similar across the Twin Cities. So how is Eagan doing? Eagan's doing very impressive. I will say, we do obviously have a few areas that are declining, but that comes with this time of the year. We're heading into the fall season. It's notoriously slower. Generally really starts slowing down around November, picks up again sometime the middle of the end of February, with that being the official start of the spring season, which is actually Super Bowl weekend. So let's kick into it. Right now, things to keep in mind, we are hitting the slow season, so home sales, current homes for sale, they're down right now about 10%, which that's 10% actually over August of last year. So that's a noticeable trend right there. One thing that would attribute to that is just the fact that the home market's been booming for how many years. And to be perfectly honest, we've had a steady flow, but as prices go up, less and less people are able to afford those areas, and Eagan, being one of the premier Twin Cities suburbs, is absolutely no different in that regard. So about 10% drop right now in the number of homes for sale. That does obviously will go along with the next statistic, which is the homes that have sold. That's down right now about 12% from August of last year. And once again, those two really go hand in hand. Homes are currently on the market for right about, it's about 35 days is the average showings to having a home pending. That means that you have an accepted offer, and in almost all circumstances, all contingencies have been met. A contingency could be an inspection. It could be a right of rescission, such as when somebody's reviewing homeowner association documents. There's just so many different things that a home could be contingent upon that 35 days is actually pretty good. So what does that mean as far as home prices? So home prices, I didn't take into account new construction because there really isn't a lot of it in Eagan going on right now. Most of those homes have sold, and the ones that are still on the market are, they would skew the numbers to definitely to the higher side for the price. So I used all single family homes, condominiums, and townhomes so that we could get a true average sales price in Eagan, Minnesota, which came to $315,237. That's very good right now. That's over the Minnesota state average, and that's over definitely the national average, which is right around about $230,000 right now. That gives us about a price per square foot of $147. So how do you interpret these statistics for your own home? And to be perfectly honest, it's very subjective. So if you have a single family home with 5 acres of land that's fully updated that maybe was built in 2010, these numbers are obviously going to be low for you. If you have a condo that, is a studio condo maybe, and a little bit older, obviously these numbers might be a little high for you. So this is a general view of how our city's doing compared to other areas. We're obviously, as I had mentioned about 2 times by now, a premier area and a very highly desired city. So we're doing very well right now. If you're genuinely curious, what is my own home? How is that performing? That's when it would be a time to reach out, and I'm more than happy to give you a free, no obligation valuation report. So one of the things I think that people get hung up on is, what is a valuation report? It simply tells you the value of your home in this market. Included in the valuation report, it will talk about myself. I have a small resume in there. It talks about Lakes Area Realty, as we're the largest locally owned brokerage in Minnesota. And in fact, our first office is in Uptown. Consequently, I split my time there, and we have a new office out in Excelsior. And then we'll talk about, how is your home marketed once it's on the market? So what do I do? And I send a separate sheet that lists that even a little easier than that. Things that I include in there at my own cost as part of my listing service is professional photography. I think that's so important. I see way too many listings coming up now, and I mean everything ranging from, $20,000 to $1 million plus. I have seen cell phone camera pictures. Pictures, people love visually appealing pictures, and you have to have the best when it comes to that. You need to capture that buyer and really get them to, keep scrolling through and build that desire. A lot of home selling is just the process of finding that buyer who can't live without your home. And professional photography is really the first step. In addition, we do professional expert marketing as far as print, social media, and neighborhood mailers to let everyone know in the area, because it is surprising how many buyers come from within about a 5-mile radius, and they're just looking maybe to buy the next home, whether that's getting a larger home for an expanding family, somebody who's maybe looking to downsize even. So we really hit all fronts, and that's there for your information. And I hope that, if you do decide to list, feel free to take that and make sure that any other agent's going to provide that for you. And of course, we offer other services in there, such as professional walkthrough videos, and you can see when you go through the list. And then, of course, we get to the valuation after that. So we take all the comparables from currently active sales to pending to offers with contingencies to recently sold. The recently sold, it can be difficult. Some days it works just to go back, 6 months. Some days we have to go back a year. It really depends on the property and where it's located. So that's included. They're all very similar. I do my best to provide as close to the exact same home as possible. Sometimes it's easy, like within townhome associations, condominiums. Sometimes it's harder when you have a home that's on 10 acres and it's custom built. But we do our best, and we stand behind what we pull. And then finally, we provide a net sheet insert. And essentially, that's going to give you a few different listing prices, and then a ballpark of what fees would cost and commissions, so that you can see at the bottom what you would walk away with after our fees. And that's a ballpark. From that number, you can take whatever you owe. If you owe anything left on your mortgage, subtract that from the number at the bottom, and that would be your in-pocket proceeds. And if you provide me that number, I'll even plug it in so that the final number is exactly what you would want, ballpark of what you would walk away with. So anyway, I would say, as far as the future of the Eagan market goes, we're still a very desired community. The housing and mortgage market review, which consists of some of the top lending houses in the country, including Fannie and Freddie Mac, recently published an article that said we should expect about 2 years of the same, if not higher, growth for the sales price. lower interest rates that came out about 2 weeks ago on Wednesday exactly. They slashed the rates. That will continue to help buyers in the area. But, certainly with the housing price going up, we're reaching that critical point where you're going to want to start thinking about selling if that's something that's on the horizon. And the reason being is that as inventory shrink, prices will go up, but eventually, they're going to start raising the interest rates again. When that happens, it's going to create an artificial bubble for a short period where it's going to take time for the market to adjust to that. That means the prices will still go up, but we'll start seeing a reverse in the inventory trend where that number of available homes starts growing again. Once that happens, that's kind of the critical sign that, hey, we see a reverse coming here. I certainly don't see another 2008 crash on the horizon. I obviously can't guarantee that, but there's really no major housing bubble in that regards. Lending practices, while recently loosened, are also still very strict. So I would say we're due for a correction. It's going to be overall healthy for our local area and the economy. And when that comes, we'll have to wait and see when that trend starts reversing. I don't think it's going to be in the next year, but I certainly think in the next year you're going to want to start down that process if you indeed do want to downsize or find that bigger home for your family. So I hope this report was valuable to you. We'll put some charts up throughout, as you've seen, and they'll again be available at the end of this video as you can pause it and scroll through, so to speak, through the video for those specific charts. Once again, if you are curious, hey, what is my property? How is that doing in this market? Reach out. It's free. I'm not going to bother you. I don't like pushy sales tactics, and I'm here to provide quality information. So thanks for watching this. If you made it all the way through, we're just over 12 minutes, so I appreciate everybody's time and everybody's views, and I hope everybody has a great weekend and had a great September, and is looking forward to the nice fall weather we're starting to have. So once again, my website is www.eaganagent.com, and you can log on to there, create an account, and from there you can search all of the local sales in your community if you're curious. Maybe if the neighbor's house went for sale and you're curious what that is, and that pulls straight from the MLS and is just far more up to date than the Zillow and Realtors.com. So thanks again. I appreciate everybody hanging in there with me, and if you have any questions, reach out anytime, and I am more than happy to answer them. Thanks, and we will see you soon.